Welcome back to Gillette Stadium, everybody. I'm Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist Christopher Price for WEEI.com. Chris, I know you and me are looking forward to this game. I think all of New England is looking forward to this game, and certainly the country. It's a Sunday night football game. We'll be looking forward to seeing just how good these 3-0 New England Patriots are.
I think the start of this three-game stretch is going to tell us a lot about this team and where they are right now. They had a bit of an easy run over the first three games. I know the schedule's the schedule, and they picked up 3 wins as a result, but I think when they're through this stretch, when you're through Atlanta, Cincinnati, New Orleans, you're going to have a really good idea of just how talented this team is, just how high a ceiling this team could have.
Obviously, a lot of focus on Atlanta's quarterback, former Boston College All-American, Matt Ryan, and for good reason. He is the leader of one of the most explosive offenses in all of football. Certainly, you touched on Julio Jones and just what kind of receiver he can be and how dangerous he could be against Aqib Talib this weekend.
I think we're looking at a situation here, not unlike the situation we saw last week with Tampa Bay, where Tampa Bay brought Vincent Jackson to the table, and the Patriots were able to effectively match him with someone like Talib. We know Talib is not an elite shutdown corner, but he is the kind of guy who's a good matchup against a big physical receiver like Vincent Jackson. It certainly sets up very similarly this week when you're talking about someone like Julio Jones, a big, long, physical guy, fast guy. I anticipate Patriots a matchup of Talib versus Jones, not unlike what we saw last week between Talib and Jackson.
And let's not forget they have a couple of other receivers certainly that can burn you deep, not the least of which is one number 84, Roddy White. This week I found it a little bit interesting that Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patriglia was talking about how Matt Ryan can not only beat you with his arm, beat you physically, but beat you with his brain as well. What does he mean by that?
I think he's a smart quarterback. I think he's a guy who has multiple options. Obviously, you bring down all of the guys he has available in the passing game. They also lean very heavily on the backs as part of that passing game too. And I think one of the things that's going to be a huge point of emphasis this week for the Patriots, we talked about the Talib-Jones matchup. They have a lot of depth. They have more depth when it comes to all those offensive options, particularly in the passing game. And I think that's going to be a concern for the New England linebackers, the New England safeties. There are going to be some tough matchups for them. And I think the Patriots have been a little bit vulnerable when it comes to play action. That's one of the things to keep an eye out for. But, you're talking about guys like you said, Roddy White. You're talking about guys out of the backfield. They utilize their running backs.
Rogers,
exactly.
Harry Douglas.
Exactly. They utilize all of those elements to really put together a really impressive passing game. So I think it's not so much on the Talib-Jones matchup, but I think if you're Atlanta, you're looking past that and you're feeling pretty good about the depth of your options in the passing game as opposed to what the Patriots might be able to roll out.
Chris, there's been a lot of talk, obviously, about what the Patriots need to do defensively to stop Matt Ryan, and for good reason. But on the offensive side of the ball, here's the weekly Rob Gronkowski update. Does he play?
Yes, he does. I think Gronkowski brings a certain value to the field, even if he's not at 100%. We talked a little bit earlier before we went on here about Gronkowski as a red zone possibility. Even again, not at 100%, he's going to be someone who's going to command attention, who might be able to open things up for some of the other guys, who might be able to open things up for some of the younger wide receivers, open things up in the running game. So I think he's going to be out there. Whether or not he's going to be at 100% is another question, but I think he will be out there, and I think he will be able to affect the game, even if he's not at 100%.
Chris, you had an excellent column this week on WEEI.com talking about 5 statistics you should know about the New England Patriots going into this week number 4 of the NFL season. Perhaps most alarmingly is the red zone inefficiency, I should say, of the Patriots. They are dead last, 32nd in all of the NFL, converting at just about 30%. And maybe even more stunningly, goal-to-goal situations, they are converting just 16% of the time. What gives? Why?
A huge point of emphasis this week for this team, both offensively and defensively. Obviously, you want to kind of pull it all together defensively, but on the offensive side of the ball, they've turned the ball over a few times, and the number one culprit in that regard has been Brady. We talked to you asked Bill the question earlier today. What's the number one thing? What's the most important thing about red zone offense? It is not turning the ball over. Brady's turned the ball over twice. There was a bad interception last week against Tampa, fumbled the ball on the goal line against the Bills. You have to be able to pick up points out of that. Not just 3 points, but 7 points, especially when you're facing really good offenses like you have in New Orleans, like you have in Cincinnati, this is a key stretch for a lot of reasons. Right. You're not going to be able to leave those points out there. You're going to have to pick those points up because they're going to be at a premium, especially against some of these other teams.
Another question I asked Belichick in his Wednesday press conference with reporters here at Gillette Stadium was what kind of impact could Rob Gronkowski have? Everybody who has followed this team over the last 3 years knows what kind of weapon Rob Gronkowski is, especially in the red zone, especially in goal-to-goal situations. He finds a way to get open in the end zone. Belichick says, I don't know what kind of impact he could have. What kind of impact do you think he could have?
I think he could have a huge impact. I think, we talked about Gronkowski's impact when it comes to the entire offense as a whole, but you also look at what he can bring to the red zone. Again, even if he's not at 100%, he can open things up underneath for some of the other options. I think he's a game changer. He really is. Even if he's not fully healthy, I think having Gronkowski on the field allows you to do some things that you couldn't necessarily do before, again, because he commands so much attention while he's out there.
Chris, I know you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of the country is really wanting to see just how good these 3-0 New England Patriots are. They're undefeated to start the first 3 weeks of the season for the first time since 2007. But just how good are the New England Patriots? I think Sunday night will go a long, long way towards answering just that question. He's Christopher Price. I'm Mike Petraglia at Gillette Stadium, WEEI.com.